I would argue that a free trade agreement is not in the cards, should not be in the cards right now, because China needs to undertake further economic reforms, both in institutions and in business practices. And we're too small, they're too different for a free trade agreement to succeed anytime soon. The Australians have been at it now for 7 years. And China has no free trade agreement with any other developed country than New Zealand. And finally, I think whatever we do on the free trade agreement or the liberalization with China, we need to fix our investment review process to provide more predictability and certainty for foreign investors. And if you want to read about that, Roger talks about it, Roger, in his book. I agree that the net benefit test is inappropriate, especially when the issues that really matter tend to be framed as national security ones. And let's not forget that our economy is rather unique in that almost a majority of production now comes from SMEs. And these are the folks who need to access the Asian supply chains. They already do it to some extent through US supply chains. But many are attracted to the dynamic Asian markets, and many of them provide services. To provide those services, they have to locate there. And so I think we should be thinking about innovative ways to cut the costs of doing so. Last but not least, by far, is fixing our productivity performance. I'm not going to talk about that because you're going to have the best in the country talking about it when I sit down. But catching up to the gravity shift in Asia, is a no-brainer compared to the complex issues and the will that we need as a high-income, knowledge-intensive economy to keep ahead of the competitors that are coming out of Asia. So my last point is simply to say that I've been critical. I've suggested a strategy. And I'm glad to note that I do see signs of forward movement. We're restoring our official presence in the region, at least in the economic fora. We're becoming a Pacific location. We're thinking bigger about economic liberalization through trade and investment. But what worries me is that if Ed Luce's prognostications are not quite right, I won't say he could be wrong, but if the US economy does pick up, what worries me is that Canadian business goes back to the same old, same old. So that's my plea to you today. Remember that Asia isn't going away. It's not going to be easy, but it is going to be very large and quite profound. And when we think about a strategy, it shouldn't be just a China strategy. It really should be an Asia strategy. Thank you.